Hey, truth seekers, welcome back. Zach here. In light of the recent passing of Charlie Murphy, a lot of people have asked me to look at the death of Rick James, August 6th, 2004. We're going to get into that. Just in case you're new here and you have not seen my work on the death of Charlie Murphy, I'm going to link it in a description in the playlist. Please take the time to watch these videos. All of this information is related to what we're going to now talk about with the death of Rick James. So Rick James passed August 2004, exactly 187 days after his birthday, the homicide code in Los Angeles, California, where he died. And we're going to talk about what's so interesting about the date August 6th, especially in the year 2004. You might recall that was the year that Dave Chappelle on Chappelle's Show had the skit with Charlie Murphy talking about Rick James. So we're going to get into that skit, some of the memorable quotes from that skit, and how it all factors in to Rick James passing just months after it on August 6th. Rick James was born February 1st, 1948, the 32nd day of the year. Died at age 56, August 6th, 2004, 187 days after his birthday. The date he passed, August 6th, 2004, was a date with 38 numerology. Let me zoom this in so you can see that math. In case you're new here, 38, a number of death and killing that shows up again and again in these premature celebrity deaths. Probably the most common number associated with death and killing in this ritualistic fashion. So dead on a date with 38 numerology. It was also a date with 20 numerology. The word death also has gematria of 20. Throughout history, it seems that 38 is the more significant number. Death 38, murder 38, killing 38, Charlie 38, Murphy 38. You know, the skit had to do with Charlie Murphy telling a story about his time around Rick James, Dave Chappelle playing the part of Rick James for the comedy sketch. From his 56th birthday, Rick James, February 1st to August 6th, 187 days. Again, the homicide code. We just saw this ritual with Charlie Murphy. The day of his passing, John Mayer, who had a skit with Dave Chappelle when the show debuted, Dave Chappelle and John Mayer got together in Ohio the night of Charlie Murphy's passing and did a tribute to Charlie Murphy. From the day of Charlie Murphy's passing to John Mayer's upcoming birthday, he'll turn 40, is 187 days. This tribute concert was in Ohio. 187, a number connected to killing, is also a number connected to time and Ohio. If you missed the video that I put out on this, I went into greater depth on 187, the significance of this number. Talk a little bit more about that at the end of this. But anyhow, the day Rick James passed, August 6th, that date can be written 8/6 or 6/8, depending on where you are in the world. The name Charlie Murphy has gematria of 68. Charlie Murphy, from his date of death to what will be Game 7 of the NBA Finals, will be a span of 68 days. Remember, Charlie Murphy also did the skit with Dave Chappelle about Prince and basketball. Again, watch the videos that I put out in the playlist. These are things I've talked about. But anyway, the date of Rick James's passing, a date that corresponds with the name Charlie Murphy. And of course, just earlier in the year before he died, the Dave Chappelle skit with Charlie Murphy about Rick James. August 6th, as we write it in the U.S., is 8/6. You know, it's the same date we bombed Hiroshima. Think about the term 86th to get rid of. Rick James got 86th on August 6th. Symbol equals 86, triangle 86, pyramid 86. Rick James, very much a symbol, as all of these celebrities are. Rick James dying at age 56 also really pops out. Rick James was 56 when he died. Dave Chappelle in gematria equals 56. The name Charlie also has gematria 56. With regards to Dave Chappelle being born, or not Dave Chappelle, Rick James, with regards to Rick James being born on the 32nd day of the year, very interesting that the word cocaine equals 32, like America. America's drug of the 80s, cocaine. You know, when Rick James was in his heyday. Of course, the Dave Chappelle skit makes a big deal about Rick James and cocaine usage. They said he died from a heart attack, and what did everybody say when he died? They said, well, you know, that's just what Dave Chappelle's skit was about. How he partied hard, he lived hard, he did a lot of coke. You do a lot of coke, you blow up your heart early. But in this case, that's not what happened. This man was murdered ritualistically. And perhaps, you know, Dave Chappelle didn't realize that this is what was going on at the time. Perhaps this is why he disappeared for so long. We're going to talk about the age they brought Dave Chappelle back at. The skits were called Charlie Murphy's True Hollywood Stories. You know, the two most famous, Rick James, Prince. I should have mentioned that the name Prince equals 38. You know, Prince died by the numbers. And you can go back and watch my video from February 2016 predicting Prince's death. And I get annoyed how every time I make that comment, people say, prove it, where's the link? Look, search Vanity, Prince, Zachary K. Hubbard. It's going to come right up. February 2016, take the 13 minutes or however long the video is to watch it, and there you go. You know, so many people are just so lazy, but they're so quick to run their mouth. Have you ever noticed that in America? Nation of people who don't have many skills, can't do much, don't know hardly anything, but all know how to run their mouths. That's what they built here in America. A nation of shit-talking morons. And it mostly comes from the television. You know, people that can only replicate what they see on TV. I remember after these Charlie Murphy skits, the whole country, you know, saying the same thing. Fuck yo couch. I'm Rick James, bitch. I mean, the whole country. Everybody. It was like the only words they knew. Everybody just emulates what they see on TV. In case you didn't see the skit, those were two of the most remembered lines. And I was down in Arizona at the time in college, you know, college-age people. It was all everyone was saying. You know, everyone starts drinking, starts saying regurgitating the lines from the Dave Chappelle skit. And honestly, at the time, I thought a lot of the Dave Chappelle stuff was funny, but I didn't think his skits about Rick James or Prince were that funny, honestly. I thought they just both, you know, were full of stereotypes and I don't know. I know a lot of people thought they were funny. I thought a lot of Dave Chappelle skits from that show were funny, but I honestly didn't think either of these skits were that funny. Other people sure did, though. Anyhow, look at this. This episode, Charlie Murphy's True Hollywood Stories about Rick James, it debuted on February 11th. The 42nd day of the year, number stamped all over black people throughout history. Funny, they had Ludacris as a guest. Ludacris in Gematria, some 33 and 42, the way he spells it. But anyway, 42, number stamped all over black people throughout history. They brought back Dave Chappelle at age 42. He'd been missing for a long time, you know, escaped the scene. Then they brought him back at 42. And I said, see, people, they brought him back at 42 because I've been talking about 42 stamped on black people since 2013. Chappelle 42, Black History Month. This, you know, skit was in February. Rick James was born February 1st. Rick James had his birthday 10 days before this skit. Chappelle 42, February 42, Nigger 42, Brothers 42, Martin 42, Malcolm X 42, Slavery 42, Jackie 42. There's a reason Jackie Robinson wore 42, and I just told you. You know, Charlie Murphy's skit had a lot to do with the Civil War. Or not Charlie Murphy's skit, Charlie Murphy's death. He died on April 12th, the start of the Civil War. I'll show you something. April 12th is the 102nd day of the year. Slavery, Gematria 42 and 102. The Civil War began on the 102nd day. The word nigger has Gematria 42 and 102. You see? And the Civil War ended on May 9th. Slave 59, Negro 59, Blues 59. Civil War starts on the 102nd day, ends on May 9th. Our whole history has been run by the numbers, from the starting of wars to the ending of wars to the murdering of people. and so much more because it's Freemasonry running the whole show. And this is how Freemasonry operates at the highest levels. Something else interesting about Rick James, his name was James Ambrose Johnson when he was born. 216 gematria, just like Chappelle's show. They said Rick James died at the Oakwood Toluca Hills Apartments from a heart attack. Interesting that his place of death has this gematria of 216 as well. He died 27 years after getting his music contract. 27 club musicians, Born in New York, dead in Los Angeles. What's strange is a lot of major publications wrote this article at the beginning of this year. SNL cuts a Rick James sketch with Dave Chappelle after Trump's victory. And everywhere I read, there was no reason why it was cut because Trump won the election. If you look up the story, every headline says the same thing. Sketch canceled because Trump won election. But you can't find any article that explains why. So, I'm wondering what the larger riddle is here. Why did SNL cut a Dave Chappelle skit about Rick James because Trump won the election? Every major publication wrote about this, but nobody elaborated on why. But what I noticed is the date of this article, January 18th, 2017, it's a date with 56 numerology. Rick James dead at 56. 118 is a number connected to death. The date January 18th can be written 18/1 or 1/18. 18/1 is kind of like 181, the 42nd prime. Can the Rick James skit debuted on the 42nd day of the year, number stamped on black people. The number 42 is also often paired with 153. That's because in the Bible there's the miraculous catch of 153 fish. Fish is 42. By the way, the original printed Bibles were called 42-line Bibles. The New Testament, the Christian part of the Bible, begins with the 42 generations to Jesus. Anyhow, I'm Rick James, bitch. The most remembered line from that skit equals 153. And all throughout history, this pairing of 153 and 42, skit on the 42nd day of the year, I'm Rick James, bitch. Next thing you knew, the whole country repeating this. Talk about programming. Also, 118, number for death. Another memorable line from the show, cocaine is a hell of a drug. They had Rick James saying that. Rick James known for using cocaine just like a lot of 80s entertainers. Just like a lot of people. Just like people still to this day. When I was down in Arizona, there was cocaine everywhere, Cocaine, super addictive for a lot of people. And for anyone who's afraid of drugs and never done drugs, I recommend everybody do a little bit of cocaine at some point in their life. I don't have an addictive personality. Cocaine can be a lot of fun, especially if you're out dancing with friends, partying. Just don't abuse it. If you have an addictive personality, stay away. But, most people I think can handle, things in choice amounts. Don't let drugs be demonized. They all have a purpose. He also died in Los Angeles, California, 118, 187 days after his birthday. A lot of suspicious deaths and celebrities in LA in history. So his cause of death, heart attack, the name of the apartment complex. The name of that complex also has gematria of 72, like heart attack, also like I'm Rick James, bitch, So yeah, no surprises. And, for all of you who asked me to look into this, a lot of people asked me to look at the Rick James death. The reason I make these videos is largely for the hope that people will use the knowledge themselves and share the information. And it doesn't take long to do these things. Let's just do this in real time. This is going to take seconds. We're going to go to the date duration calculator. Just search date duration calculator. It'll come up in any web search. I mean, look how simple this is. His birthday was February 1st, right? 2004. And he died August 6th, 2004. Just do a little search. 187 days later. And something to keep in mind is also check the span of days. The span of days is also interesting. The span is just going to add one extra day each time. But 188 is no joke either. That's a serious number. Look at our dollar bill denominations. Can you think of the numbers we have for dollar bills? We have a 1, we have a 2, we have a 5, a 10, a 20, a 50, a 100. If you add that together, it sums to 188. And everybody knows about the Illuminati symbolism on the dollar bills. But look, Bavarian Illuminati equals 188, and the Bavarian Illuminati, a very real thing, established May 1st, 1776, just before the establishment of this nation. This is who runs the country. The Bavarian Illuminati, Freemasonry, Zionist Jews. They've been running it for centuries. And they've done everything by this numerical code. And so many people in history have been killed by these numbers. Let's just do this real quick too, since they tied this to Trump for some reason. I'll show you the Trump 187 thing here. There's been a lot of Trump 187. I want to pull up this post here. That's not the one I want. Bear with me for a moment. Remember, Dave Chappelle's from Ohio. Trump had his big GOP convention in Ohio. All these blog posts we're scrolling through, if you have the time, come read all this. There's a lot of important information here. This is important, but hold on. There's one post I really want to show you. Is my blog messing with me? Normally it's one of the first posts that comes up. What's going on here? All right, Truth Seeker. Where is this post at? Okay, hold on. Let's try something else. Truth Seeker. This is not supposed to take this long. Here we go. Here we go. All right. So Trump's GOP convention began July 18th, 18/7. And from the convention to Inauguration Day, 187 days later. 187 days later. Again, why did they make this headline on January 18th about Trump and a Chappelle skit on Saturday Night Live? It just doesn't make any sense. What does Donald Trump have to do with Dave Chappelle or Rick James? Doesn't make any sense. So 187 days. Washington, D.C. in Gematria is 187, just like George Washington. George Washington, largely responsible for the genocide of the natives. This is a number of killing. Freemasonry is a gang that is a bunch of killers all throughout history. You know, Freemasonry at the top is as sick as it gets. Satanic society, absolutely. Trump, the night of the election, was in the Rockefeller Plaza with the Rockefeller family. We just saw the death of David Rockefeller by the numbers. If you missed my playlist on the Rockefellers, you got to check that out. Society of Jesus is the name of the Jesuit order. The Masons within the Catholic Church, which have a lot of influence over society, 187. And, you know, the Catholic Church, killers, straight up killers. Read about the 33-day Pope, murdered. The last day alive was the Jesuit order's birthday, the Society of Jesus, for the 33-day Pope. They say he was killed by arsenic within the Vatican. Arsenic equals 33 in Gematria, has an atomic number of 33, 33-day Pope. Last day alive, the Society of Jesus' birthday, 187. Again, Trump's convention was in Ohio, you know, just like Dave Chappelle and John Mayer had their tribute in Ohio, 187 days from John Mayer's birthday for Charlie Murphy. Time's a killer. Time has the 187 Gematria. The last Republican president before Trump was George W., like George Washington Bush, born July 6th, the 187th day of the year. So there's some reason that we were given that headline on January 18th about Rick James and Donald Trump. You know, everyone published this article on this date. And again, there's been a lot of predictive programming and foreshadowing of a Trump death. So, we'll see. All right, Truth Seeker, until next time.